Oh, heavens to Betsy. I love this, Jennifer. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. This is the Jennifer and Merrill and Jennifer show, Wednesday at noon Eastern time. So you can keep up with trends, you can keep up with big wins, and kind of what does fundability mean and how do you become fundable for the best success. We've got a crazy story today, and it happens to be Jennifer's story. Jennifer, tell us what happened this weekend.
So, this week I have been really focused on getting a new car. Now, we have supply chains, challenges, and everybody has this, scarcity of cars. And so it was really interesting because I decided that this was the first time in a really long time I wasn't going to just stick with the main brand that I've driven. So anybody who knows me knows what brand that is. I'm not going to throw the brands under the bus, but I've been with one brand of car for over 20 years. And usually I just go straight in and, it's no issue. But I have to say that brand they've made decisions that are not for the customer, that are very much focused on them making a profit and not really caring what they do. And so I was like, this is the first time I was like, so I'm actually going to start going out to different dealerships. And I decided I would, really put into practice, which I think anybody who's listened to me for years knows that on SiriusXM, I used to tease you because you'd come on and there were certain things you'd say. And then I would be like, okay, I'm a little suspicious about this.
Weird.
And then I would do it. And then I would be like, whoa, okay, Merrill knows what he's talking about. And I think that's over the years, one of the things that's been such a blessing with you is that, I love the fact that I love hearing what you say, but I've heard all of the people who go, I don't know if Merrill.
Like, that's weird.
That's a little weird, again, because it's going against what we've been taught. And so when going into these auto dealerships, number one, I knew my scores because of what you've taught me, but I also have known going into the car dealerships, the other thing that's really important is understanding the different softwares that they might be using. And it depends on the dealership. And so because I was going through this thing, and it's almost 3 full weeks I've been going through this, and this week it finally came to a head because I was like, okay, I want to make a decision. Not realizing that here's one of the secrets that, again, if you're interested, you should go near the end of a month because car dealerships love to do anything they can to get one more deal before the end of the month.
Yep.
So that's
Ding.
one secret.
Yeah.
Remember that when you're looking for a car. But two, ask to speak to the finance manager, not to just the guy who's doing so number one, your salesperson, when you ask them, what software are you guys using? What FICO software?
What FICO version are you using? And remember, there's 542, there's FICO Auto 8 and FICO Auto 9.
Right. And so you ask, and so of course you ask your salesperson, they're immediately going to look totally like you're a crazy person and
dead in the eyes
talking about blah, blah, blah. And I was so funny too, because even the finance person, I started laughing because there were several times he just wanted to argue with me. And I just laughed. You have to be able to be 100% certain that you know what you're talking about, no matter whether they make fun of you.
Yep.
I have some really rude people, and that's part of. I've walked out of a couple dealerships because talking to the finance person, they were rude, they were inconsiderate.
They were shaming. They're trying to shame you out of your knowledge that you're certain of. They're trying to shame you into equivocating, right? They're trying to make you. It happens all the time, you guys. They're going to try and bring doubt into what you've learned. But this is why Jennifer's story is so important.
And I take that deep breath because, again, as a woman, I think going in, and I'm not married, and so going in alone, I used to always try to find some man, a random man. I mean, a friend, whoever would go in with me. And even when I bought my very first luxury car, again, I won't say the brand, I remember the guy actually patted me on the head and he said, you own too much real estate for being a single woman.
Oh,
and I was
like, God.
As a single woman, you should be happy that I am so successful. I mean, it's amazing some of the stuff that comes out of these salespeople.
Damn, that's just not right.
Finance manager, he penalized me, and he goes, I got to tell you, I have to penalize you because of you owning so much real estate. And I was like, no, you don't realize when he was doing successful actions. That's not okay. So anyway, there are a couple of these guys, I talked to him and I asked the salesperson, again, doesn't know anything. And don't, try to be nice to the salesperson. Just say, I would really like to talk to your finance manager. And what I did say is, I could pay cash. Ooh, that immediately makes them shake in the boots because they're like, and it makes them lose a whole bunch of money
because the strategy she's going to show you that she preempted. The strategy is if they help you get financing for your car, adds another $5,000 to $10,000 for that loan.
Yeah.
$5,000 to $10,000 for that loan, you guys, if they get to do the financing, and you don't know what Jennifer knows, what she's going to share with you, and what you learn in the in our boot camp, right? GetFundableJennifer.com. The boot camp is all about this. So keep going, Jennifer.
So again, you have to go in and talk to the finance. So you talk to the finance manager. And when you finally get the finance manager, and again, I offended a few of them, they love to talk down to you, and you just have to be really certain. And I did what you've taught me through the boot camp is you go in and I had my scores. So I knew exactly which auto score was, depending on which software they're using. And I said to them, you know what, I could pay cash, but I said, I'd also be interested to see what your financing is. Now, remember that they can go. So I said, one of the key questions that you also taught me is to ask them their process. So what are you going to do? Before I give you my Social Security and before I go ahead and let you look this stuff up. Now, and there's also two parts of this, which we can talk about, which is the business or going personal with your Social Security number or your business EIN. But that's another thing. First of all, you want to ask them, what is your process? So the first thing they do is they say, well, we want to make sure we've got the car you want, of course, and all of the features you want. And then let's work backwards. So we're going to go backwards to see if we think we can get it, because we kind of know what our banks are going to do. And I said, well, wait a minute. How many times are you going to pull my credit? And he goes, oh no, it's all soft pulls and it doesn't hurt your credit. I said, no. Are you pulling
lie?
We need that. We need like a blinker. And I said, if I find, and this is where I looked at him and he was so funny, because you also have to remember, depending on who you're talking to, you need to come at them with the same kind of tone that they're talking to you. So like he started to get angry. And so I got angry back and I said,
Sun Tzu, Art of War.
Exactly. If you actually pull my credit more than he said, because he said, oh no, we pull it, maybe once, 2 times max. And I said, so if you pull my credit more than 2 times, what are you going to do to make it up for me? Because then I'm definitely not going to be purchasing a car from here. And of course I got a little loud on the sales form, and they're not happy with that at all. And I said, and he goes, no, I swear we won't. And I said, so if you could pay this in cash, he said, you're saying that you could get a bank? And I said, yes. And he goes, what bank? And I started laughing. And I said, well, I have a couple who really love me and I know they would. He goes, they're not giving car loans right now.
Lie alert.
Really? They're not giving car? I sat down and just talked to my bank and they are throwing money at me, which is another story we can talk about another time. It's hilarious now how much money they're trying to give me.
Yes.
Unsecured money. Very, very.
You're fundable.
Now it's totally fundable. And so they're like, here, let's give you money. But you and I talked about, it's good to have a car loan. And I don't really care. I can do it myself or I could do it through you. And so I just said that to the finance manager.
Listen to that, guys. I can do it myself straight with my bank, or we can make it convenient and I can do it with you according to but we got to do a certain way. Go, Jennifer. This is awesome.
You got to play by my rules. If you're not going to play by my rules, number one, you're not pulling my credit 9 times to have it, because so then he starts lifting off, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. He's listing off all of these other institutions. And I'm like, yes, I have a relationship with them. I can go directly to them. So I don't want to be shopped around. And I definitely know that they will all pull my credit. So that's not okay. And he was like, oh. And so anyway, so we start negotiating more.
All right,
and
I
then
want to break in. I want to break in right now. So here's where the tech comes in, you guys. They shop all of these different lenders who all have different of the 9 auto loan softwares to find the lowest score you have to approve you on that lowest score. And that's when you qualify for credit up here, but they can finance you down here, they get to keep the spread. So that's what so just so you know what the auto dealer is thinking, I want to pull 9 different banks to find the lowest score. Now keep going, Jennifer.
And so I told him, I will not be with you at all. And number one, you don't do it. And I'm telling you, I will not purchase a car from this dealership if you do that. And I said, and you better wait until I've signed something before you pull my credit. So the good news is, so now I find out that they're willing to do this full negotiation with me without pulling my credit because they believe me, which was really beautiful.
Because you're a subject matter expert.
I have a great credit score. And I said, I do. And I have a certain, and I said, and I also have a business. I said, so I may go under the business. I may go into personal. I said, but regardless, my credit score is amazing. And so he was like, and I said, you know what? And again, this is the takeaway. Whether you can do it or whether you can't, here is such a powerful takeaway. You can say, I could just pay cash. And they are like, what? I mean, because again, that's a huge part of the money they make is on the financing.
Is on the financing.
And all the bull BS. So again, there is the company, which I'm not going to say the company, but there's the company who can also give you direct financing. They can just directly finance you. Wink, wink.
Yeah, like Ford Motor Credit, Toyota Motor Credit, BMW credit. All these auto will finance it themselves but then you're going to tell us how you figured out which of the scores to use. And then, so keep going.
So I said to him, so finally I did get this out of him. Again, you have to ask the question over and over. You have to be certain when you ask him, which software, which one are you using? I need to know exactly which one. And he was really uncertain. And I said, I'm sure you know. Because you're an expert, right?
Ding, 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 ding.
And that's when he told me. And I started laughing. I said, well, that's great. Because that one has my highest score. And it's exceptional. And he was like, okay, great. So guess what? They didn't pull my credit. And they decided that the actual company itself would finance me because I was such a good investment, which was great. And then
they pulled the right score that matches your highest score, which means lowest fees and interest, best terms.
And then we had the little chat, which this is just my, from being a real estate agent and from being an exceptional negotiator for so many years, is then you go in, like I said at the top of this, you go in at the end of the month, within 2-3 days of the end of a month, and then you talk to them and you have to be willing to walk out. So I gave them a number and I said, I'm not paying more than this a month. And it was super funny because this is the other thing they did to me. I gave them a number of how much I would pay them monthly. And I said, and that's it. And how much I would put down. And I wasn't willing to budge. Don't budge. Once you make a decision, you have to be certain because if they can move you, then they're going to keep on doing it. And I was there for 7 hours. So this wasn't like
that's 7 hours at $10,000 savings on your loan. 7 hours is what? $1,000, $1,200 an hour.
Exactly. And it was just under 10,000 is what I saved on the loan. And it's so funny because I did the calculation a couple of times. And I laughed about the fact that, at the end of it, I gave him so here's one of the other big tips is number one, you got to know your scores. You got to know which version it is. You have to be confident when you talk to him, but you also need to make sure that he doesn't do all those pulls. And then you really want to be valuable enough that the company will finance you without outsourcing it to a bunch of other people because they can give you the best terms and the best rate if they want to.
Yes.
They might not, or if they say not, again, there's so many. Remember, there's no scarcity. There's so many
There's
cars.
so much money out there and so
There's
many cars.
much money There's so many cars. There's so many dealerships. Don't let anybody treat you badly. Don't let anybody talk down to you. And don't let them pull your score a bunch of times. You can have it. You can have a printout of it. You can you'll blow their mind. Believe me. And then remember, this is the kicker. So then they said, oh yeah, we can give you that one with a 7-year loan. I'm like, wait a minute. We went from a 5-year loan to a 7-year loan. I'm like, no, I said, that's unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. And he was like, what?
More interest. Remember, they're trying to make money at every stage of this. So there's more interest on a 7-year, and the lender's going to pay him a higher referral fee for a 7-year over a 5-year, right? Or even over a 3-year.
Seriously,
Brilliant.
like, so you need to pay attention. How many months is it? And then it was super funny because the interest rates was all over the place. Like it was 5.99, then it was 3.99. I mean, it went all over. So it's almost, so again, it's like they're tweaking the interest rate, then they're tweaking your payment, then they're tweaking the term, how many years. And you just have to be really savvy to pay attention to it and be totally good with walking away. And so by the end of it, of course, it was just over 9,000 that I saved on it. And by the end of it, here we go. Now I want to go.
Watch it.
I got to know not only the finance manager, not only the dealership manager, but the owner walked in and gave me flowers and said, wow, you have actually helped our dealership and made our guys better. The salespeople, the finance, everything. Boom. Hilarious that I now have a new car and I have a dozen roses and a grateful dealership.
You guys, I rest my case. You just proved the point, Jennifer. And if you guys need to know where you learn all of this at getfundablejennifer.com. Our master course, that boot camp rages. And this is one of over 30 strategies, you guys. One of over 30 strategies about how, because that dealership has a playbook. And you know that playbook, so now you know what their next play is going to be. And look, you come out the winner. You come out the winner.
And the other thing I want to say,
mad props, man. Mad props.
Thank you. And thank you for all that you teach. This boot camp, the other thing about the boot camp that is so critical, and I want to say this, it can save you money on so many different things in your life. And one of them, again, is the home buying, the home selling, any kind of but also with your businesses. And we don't have time to go in this, but I really want to leave it to come to the boot camp if you want to understand why do you strategically use your personal credit sometimes, and then strategically you're using your business, whether your car is going to be in your business name or your personal name. There are very specific strategies. And of course there are liability strategies, there are credit strategies, and then there's strategies on, again,
leveraging, how to leverage money with your credit, or how to leverage credit and use your money with the highest ROI, the return.
Right. So it's just, I want to say thank you so much, because you taught me so much over the years, and I haven't had to negotiate a car in so long. And then it was, it just became like a little bit of a sport, because it was really fun to just watch how, again, it's amazing to me how many car dealerships, they're not as knowledgeable as you think. And so just because they're sitting in that seat, they may not know as much as you do, and they probably don't. So
They probably don't.
Around. You get the knowledge, go to the boot camp, get the knowledge, and be certain, because it'll save you thousands and thousands of dollars. Think about how many millions of dollars you will save over your lifetime.
Oh, I'm telling you guys, this is amazing. So come to the boot camp. Oh, and next week, do not mix next week, because we're going to be talking about the tsunami of foreclosures that are on their way. Do not miss this, you guys. The tsunami of foreclosures. It's already begun. We've got graphs and charts to share with you. Do not miss. Same Fundable time, same Fundable a day. Wednesday, noon Eastern, and get your own dozen roses from being a badass navigator of the credit system, cars, mortgages, real estate investing. Just find out the rules of this game so you can have your own dozen roses. You guys, this is Merrill Chandler and Jennifer Hammond. Thank you for joining us. We will see you